You know it's this. Take a perk and a talk of that shit. Money swallowing like sis. Did it perfect in the kid. Got a billion who sang on my head. Look me better. Put on the road I just spent. I know we got $1 million. The devil that shit ain't not cheaper again.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to MangaMuse. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the second part of What If Naruto Meets Flash? Special note, this fanfic is written and a masterpiece of pyrohelixdrago on FANFICTIONnet. Do check and support the author too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. I wouldn't worry, magic is just another form of science that has yet to be explained or completely understood, Minato said as he had full faith in science and didn't believe in actual magic. Anyways, power talk aside, we have a meeting with Sapphire Stag to be at in 15 minutes. Shall we, dear? Kushina said with a smile. We shall, honey. Minato said as they locked arms and Kushina put her head on his shoulder. With Caitlin. This is insane, Naruto said as he and Barry analyzed the lung tissue and found 2 sets of DNA. What new equipment you got me? Barry said as they used the new computer system to analyze it. It isn't possible to have 2 sets of DNA unless of transplants with tissue, Naruto said as organ or tissue transplants sometimes threw off DNA scans. What if this metahuman doesn't control the gas but becomes it? Caitlin said as that was the only theory that made sense. Got it in one appealing. Naruto said with a smirk. Barry laughed as he saw Caitlin blush slightly, wondering why these two didn't stay together. Hey, what caused Caitlin to leave you? Barry asked curiously as he was curious to how they broke up. I wanted to learn more about chemicals and the human body, that knowledge helped give me gain the skills I have now. Caitlin said as she learned the skills that helped her with setting up the particle accelerator. But she didn't want to leave me behind. But I told her not to put her life on hold for me. So I let her go, and if she wanted to get back together we could, but Ronnie came along. I still remember him joking about being a high-priced plumber. Naruto said as he was okay with Caitlin moving on from him. Caitlin and him smiled before noticing their hands were touching before separating. Geez, it is awkward with you too. Barry said with a smirk as it was nice to know he wasn't the only awkward one on the team. Like with you and Iris. You two never dated, we have. Naruto said as even though he didn't date he still had woman troubles. Don't start, please, Barry said as Joe did that enough. Okay, Naruto said quickly dropping it. What's wrong? Barry asked as Naruto shifted his eyes. Nothing, why would you think something's wrong? Naruto asked smiling at Barry. You're doing the nervous shifty eyes thing like you did something. Barry asked curiously. I may have accidentally let slip that you had feelings for Iris. Naruto said as he readied himself for Barry's shouting. You what? Barry asked in anger-fueled embarrassment. I was talking to Will in jitters and I didn't know she was listening in as she was leaving, Naruto said apologetically. Dude. Wow, and you used to say I sucked at keeping secrets, Caitlin said holding in a laugh as this was great comedy. Barry got up just as the police radio went off a report of a gas attack at the mall. You got lucky. I'll handle this, Barry said running off. Barry we don't know enough of what we're facing yet. It's not safe. Caitlin said as Barry grabbed the suit from his locker. Caitlin, I have to go. Barry said not knowing he caused Caitlin to freeze as her mind went back to the night of the accelerator blowing up. Naruto looked at her in worry as he could see the slight tremble she had and how her hands shook. I'll go after him, he said wondering if that would put her at ease. No, please. Could you stay with me for a minute or two? Caitlin asked looking on the verge of tears. Naruto looked her in the eyes before nodding. He turned around and the two hugged, which seemed to calm her down. Okay, it's been 8 minutes and no word from Barry, I'm sorry Kate. Naruto went over to his locker and grabbed his suit. I promise I'll be back, Snowflake. Naruto said before kissing her forehead and speeding off as Caitlyn looked at her engagement ring, remembering Ronnie. Naruto sped into the mall, remembering the attack was in the north wing, before following Barry's leftover speed train, and went through a door to find him on the ground, gasped for air as a bald man stood over him. Hello, here to try and take me as well? I think you have something more important to take care of, the man said before turning into a green mist and going through the exit door. Naruto rushed over to the gasping Barry before helping him up. They rushed to STR Labs as Barry fell between Cisco and Wells. I can't breathe. He needs oxygen, get the crash cart. Hara's-san said in urgency as Cisco rushed off to get it. He has a fresh sample in his lungs, we need to extract it. Caitlyn said as she rushes in. Barry. Naruto said as his vitals were plummeting. Cut me open, the poison's still in me. Barry said, gasping for air. This'll hurt a lot, dude. Naruto said as Caitlyn brought a rather large needle she would use to pierce his lungs and extract the gas. It's a small needle, you'll hardly feel it. Cisco said, trying to take his mind off it. You'll definitely feel it. Caitlyn said in brutal honesty as she stabbed Barry with the needle, who gasps loudly. Hour later. You okay? Naruto asked as they all just finished saving Barry and he was in the clear, and he was checking in on how Caitlyn was doing after her little episode. I'm fine, Caitlyn said, trying to assure him. Really? Because I have these things called eyes that say otherwise, Snowflake. Naruto said as he wanted to know if he could help. I went back to that night, Caitlyn said, her voice cracking up. Naruto wished he knew what to say but didn't as he was comatose when this was happening. Caitlyn, I'm sorry for your loss. I miss him too, he was like a brother to us all, he said as he walked over and sat beside her. You two are so adorable and sweet, I think I'd get some popcorn and watch this soap opera. Barry said, waking up. The streak lives. Cisco said. Hey buddy, do you feel as bad as you look? Naruto asked curiously as Barry looked like he's seen better days. My chest feels like that one time I had a cigarette. Barry said, getting a disapproving look from Caitlyn. Me lived for danger, he said as he made a lot of questionable choices. This isn't funny, you could have dash. But I didn't, Barry said, knowing what she would say. Dude, that's not the point, we may be fast but we are not invincible, we just have extraordinary abilities, but under that we're men, Naruto said as Barry needed a little reality check. Now that we have a sample, we'll get to work analyzing it, figure out the makeup of the poison and maybe figure out his human identity. Hara's-san said, typing away at the computer with Cisco. Or at least figure out a way to stop him from turning into a mist, the mist, that's his name, Cisco said with a bright smile. I gotta get to the station. Barry said, getting up. You should be resting. Well said. I'll take him, Naruto said to Caitlyn as she liked to exercise caution and restraint. Is Snosuke revived? Cisco said before yelping and ducking as Caitlyn threw a pen at him. You know, one of these days she just might kill you, Naruto said with a smile as Cisco hid. Oh please, she's harmless, Cisco said just as another pen hit him in the face. That. Harmless enough for ya? Caitlyn asked him, daring him to retort. How did you ever date her? Cisco said as he often thought Caitlyn was a little too strict, guarded but also quick-tempered. I got mad skills. Naruto said, mocking Cisco from the time he said it. Yeah, you've proven that one too many times. Cisco said, commenting about Naruto's shared relationship with women. Alright, let's go. Naruto said, helping Barry up. CCPD. Joe was in Barry's lab looking over files that involved cases the judge that was killed was a part of. Joe, we were wrong, he's not controlling airborne toxins. He can literally turn himself into poison gas. Barry said as Naruto and Caitlyn were right on the money. That's new. The victim was a judge. We're looking through some of her old cases, trying to find a connection. Joe said, seeing a familiar pattern here as he felt like he made a connection like this before. It's too late. I should have been faster. Barry said, holding the death of the judge as a failure. Focus on the job, don't think about that right now. You don't want to know what I'm thinking about. Berry. That's probably for the best we go to dark places when we feel responsible for a person's death, Naruto said as he tried to remain quiet. Berry sighs as he walks over to the desk in front of the window. My dad has spent 14 years in a 6x8 cell for a crime he didn't commit. I couldn't save my mom, but I can save him. Berry said, his mind going to a desperate place. Didn't I promise you, we were going to get your father out together? And Berry, your dad, as tragic as it is that he's in there, you know he wouldn't want that or for you to do something this dumb, Naruto said as this was dumb. I could be in and out of there with him in a second. Berry said, his emotions rising. Okay, say you do that, break him out, then what? He's on the run for the rest of his life. And something tells me he's not as fast as you. Joe said. 'Cause let me tell you, all that stuff you see on TV or heard from Joe about criminals on the run is a perfect example of what you do to your dad and make matters worse if he's caught, Naruto said as. You don't know what it's like there. Berry said as he saw. You think I don't know how you feel? I have been a cop for just about as long as you've been alive. So you should know putting on that suit doesn't mean everyone's safe. For everyone that you save there's going to be someone you can't, and the hardest thing you're gonna have to face isn't some monster out there with powers. It's gonna be that feeling of uselessness if you can't do anything. Or the guilt that weighs on you when you make a mistake. Some things, Berry, you can't fight, some things you're just going to have to live with. Joe said, trying to deter Berry from. Berry, do you want me to walk you home? Naruto asked as Berry stood there with his arms crossed. No thanks, I got it. Berry said as Naruto nodded and left to let him think. Keep an eye on him, I need to go check on something, Joe said to Naruto as he took off. Time to finish some paperwork, Naruto said as he did paperwork for crime scenes he was doing and finished in 5 seconds and even went over Berry's. Naruto's phone began to vibrate as he took it out of his pocket. He saw the caller ID being Lisa Snart. Lisa? Naruto said as he hadn't heard that name in years since high school. Hello there, Golden Glider, he said as she wanted a nickname from him and she wanted gold a part of it. You still remember the nickname you gave me? Nice to know, Lisa said with a laugh over the phone. So what do you want, Lisa? Naruto asked as Lisa wasn't the sentimental type to catch up on old times. The boy I like has been in a coma for 9 months and didn't even bother to give me a call when he woke up, and hasn't called me, Lisa said, faking sadness over the line. Can't call a person whose number I never had, you know, since you keep changing it, Naruto said as he knew Lisa got into crime when she was in high school, only getting caught a few times and sent to juvie. Hey baby, since you're with the police now I had to give you a heads up. Lenny's getting ready for one of his heists, just didn't want to see you get hurt later. Lisa said as she hung up. I swear I never understood that girl, Naruto said as he kept number in his contacts. Lenny, what are you doing now? Naruto asked as Leonard Snart was his sometimes okay friend in high school as he looked after Lisa, but he wasn't like any common variety criminal. Glad to see she still cares for me. I should look her up sometime and catch up. Naruto said as Lisa was his first crush in high school. Catch up with what, Alan? Singh asked as he walked in. Where is Alan anyway? He asked curiously. He's going through some issues at the moment. Naruto said as he felt awkward at this moment. His mom again? Singh asked as he knew about Berry's search in that case as he often saw the board in the lab, but knew he couldn't stop Alan as it didn't impede his work or performance. Naruto nodded. Oh, also I would like to run this by you. Me and Berry have access to STR Lab's equipment and often get assistance in certain things the lab here might not be able to do. And my parents donated some equipment we can use as well, he said as he knew Singh was getting curious as to how Berry was getting results without going to his lab. Thank you, I'd like to be informed on certain matters, Singh said as he liked Naruto's honesty, it was a bit refreshing. Oh, and that reminds me, my parents are looking into things for the officers, reinforced vests and stuff like that. Naruto said as his parents didn't do much for law enforcement as they'd like as they didn't want to make weapons. Remind me to thank them for that too, as these are my officers we're talking about. Don't need much, nothing like rockets or anything, I just want them to be able to go home at the end of the day. Singh said as he sometimes thought he was too soft-hearted for this job. I'll tell them that. Get this, my girlfriend suggested something like Robocop. Naruto said as the two laughed, as Will probably meant it as a joke. That'd be a sight. Good night, Naruto. Singh said as he took off. Good night, Captain. Naruto said. Naruto then decided to call it a night and go home after Barry left. Naruto sped home, where he stretched before kneeling down to pet Kurama and fetch him his dinner. And he thinks about the things that happened today. Will and her mother may have powers. This metamorpho stuff is out there where anyone can grab it. This mist guy is on the loose, and now he finds out Snart is on his way or is in the process of getting ready for a heist here in the city. Naruto just sighs as he drops in bed and goes to sleep. I'll worry about all that in the morning, was his only thought before closing his eyes. Next day, Naruto went over to STR Labs bringing Kurama with him and passed by an entrance to the pipeline and looked in where the treadmill was and saw Caitlin sitting there as Barry arrived. You mind giving us a moment, he said to the Scarlet Speedster. Naruto brings Kurama into the room with him as he sits down beside Caitlin. Look who I brought, he said as Kurama went up to Caitlin and sat in her lap rubbing himself against her stomach. Caitlin smiles as she pets him. Look, about yesterday when Barry he was saying. I got it, he had to go. It's just that those were the last things Ronnie said to me before. She said, looking to the door behind her, as this was the last place she was with Ronnie before he died. Barry decided to walk in. My mother died 14 years ago. I used to think the further I got from it, the less it would hurt, but some days, the pain is worse than the day it happened. Some things you can't fight, Barry said. For so long, I've been terrified to go into that hole, Caitlin said as she often tried to stay away from this door as it always brought her to tears thinking about Ronnie. What if we went with you? Naruto said, taking her hand into his as Kurama just looked up at them as Barry walked over and sat on the other side of her. Here, he said, handing Caitlin a photo. He really hated that horse, Caitlin said before taking a gulp and standing up. Barry looked at the photo and laughed as it was a photo of Ronnie with bandages around his stomach, and looked as Caitlin was laughing at him. He even signed it saying, "Never trust a horse, Ronnie Raymond." I'm ready, Caitlin said as they opened the door and walked to the entrance of the accelerator. She slowly approached it as Kurama walked beside and sat down as she stopped. This is always gonna haunt her, man, I'm telling you now, Barry said as he knew that look in Caitlin as he often saw it on himself after his mom died. Caitlin's one of the strongest women I know, she can get past this, that I'm sure, Naruto said with absolute certainty. He saved so many lives that night, and nobody will ever know what he did, Caitlin said as he died a hero's death and no one would know about it. We know, Naruto said, walking over to her giving her a hug. He was a hero, Barry said as he would remember Ronnie's name, wanting to honor the man. I didn't want him to be a hero, I wanted him to be my husband, Caitlin said before Naruto embraces her as Kurama rubs himself against her leg. You guys, you down there, you gotta see this, Cisco said, calling them over the PA system. Naruto grabbed Caitlin as he and Barry ran to the lab. That's the chemical structure for hydrogen cyanide used for gas chambers, Naruto said, recognizing the molecular structure. We know, but what's interesting is what's mixed in with the cyanide, a sedative, Harusan said, showing another scan. Of course, see if there was anyone gassed the night the accelerator blew up. That sedative is given to criminal on death row before entering the gas chamber, Barry said as he had cases where certain criminals had to be put down by either gas or electrocution. Meaning this guy might be on the deceased list, Naruto said as criminals often had their DNA taken away from the database when confirmed deaths happened. I swear people fake their deaths all the time. Why was that a protocol? He asked Barry. We got a match, Kyle Nimbus, Cisco said, pulling up his picture. He told me he had one more on his list. Check the arrest record. Who caught him? That could be his next attack, Barry asked curiously. Barry, it was, Caitlin was trying to say but couldn't say it. Barry looked over the computer and saw it was Joe who caught him. Joe, he said, fearing for his adoptive father's life. Barry, I reverse-engineered an antidote to the toxin, I hope you or Naruto won't need it. Caitlin said, bringing out an injector. Don't worry, I thought ahead, check it. Naruto said, wearing his suit, making a small gas mask cover his mouth portion. You made a mouth guard, you got that from Optimus Prime, didn't you? Cisco said, as him and Naruto watched a lot of movies. If you're gonna take something from a movie, better be a good thing. Besides, I just whipped this up, so it's a prototype, Naruto said, hoping his mask worked, as he only assumed it could prevent small amounts of Nimbus's gas. Dude, check out what it does to your voice. Cisco said, as it changed Naruto's voice tone slightly. Guys, Joe. Barry said in urgency. Oh right, sorry. Naruto said as they ran to Iron Heights. They found Joe down on the ground, twitch and gasping for breath. SHT, Naruto said as he injected Joe, stop twitching and getting his breathing back under control. Afterwards they looked up to see Barry's father on the other side of the glass looking at them. Barry then made his face begin to vibrate before looking back at Joe. Go get him. Joe said as the two smirked before speeding off, stopping in front of Nimbus, who was on the street. So, you two come to finish what the gas chamber couldn't? Nimbus asked, feeling a little bloodthirsty. You're going somewhere you can't hurt anyone ever again. Barry said with a smirk. Wrong. Nimbus before turning into a mist and grew, covering the street and going into the air as they looked up. Stay away from him, you two. Do not breath him in. Caitlin said over the comm. Not sure how that helps right now, Snowflake. Naruto said before the two dodged Nimbus flying at them. Just, keep him coming at you, that should sap his strength. Caitlin said. Gas is the least stable form of matter, his particles will need to reform after some time. HAREM said over the comms. Naruto looked at his hands before getting an idea. Naruto began to go around and around in circles. What are you doing? Barry asked as Nimbus began to get sucked in. This. Naruto said as he was creating so much lightning as he was circling around Nimbus, who was trying to get out. As soon as Nimbus touched some of the lightning that followed, Naruto ignited Nimbus gas, making the mist begin to take human form as Nimbus tried rolling, as he was burned very harshly in some places. Naruto winced as he saw him. That didn't go as I thought it would. Later at STR Labs. It seems Naruto's lightning actually ignited Mr. Nimbus's gas, HAREM said as he thought over what he was told. Will he be okay? Anything permanent as being set on fire must hurt like hell. Naruto asked, feeling a little guilty. The burns will heal in time, no need for skin grafts, HAREM said, ensuring Naruto. I can't believe your lightning can actually do stuff. Maybe you have electrical powers, Cisco said excitedly. I've been actually trying to see if I can throw it. Naruto said as the energy came from him, meaning he should be able to interact with it. Like Zeus? Barry asked curiously. That would be so cool. Cisco said, already imagining it. Imagine if I could do stuff like that. Oh, lightning whips. Naruto said, making a WHP sound. Thinking about getting KNKY with Caitlin, Cisco said with a chuckle. Naruto poked Cisco with an electrified finger. Ow! Cisco yelled out. I at least figured out how to do that. Naruto said as he figured the lightning was channeling through their body whenever they used their powers, somewhat connected to their nervous system. Well, now that's done, I've got a hankering for some ice cream. Who's in? Caitlin asked as Naruto grinned happily. Pass, I'm going to see Joe. Barry said, speeding off to the hospital Joe's at. Going to, okay, quitting. Cisco said, ready to shoot off another tease about Naruto and Caitlin, but Naruto held up an electrified hand. But wait up, you ain't going for ice cream without me. Cisco said, grabbing his coat. Be glad I don't tell her what you said earlier, she'd actually kill you this time, Naruto said with a smirk. I see that now. Cisco said as he was sure Naruto was right. Come on. Dr. Wells you in? Naruto asked curiously. I appreciate the offer but no thank you, HAREM said with a smile as he waved them goodbye, and when they left he ran to the time vault. Gideon Godspeed, he asked, as Godspeed's future may have been changing constantly but he tried to use much closer to the present articles. Good news Dr. Wells, it appears that at the rate Naruto is going, your future is certain as a result, Gideon said as HAREM looked pleased. That is fantastic, HAREM said in pure joy. Though one more article has been made, I do not know if it is a good future or not. Gideon showed an article showing Godspeed replacing the Flash after his disappearance. Oh, that's not good, HAREM said, as his whole reason for being who he was, meant he needed the Flash and without him he'd fade or be converted to meet the new future. In this it appears Godspeed replaces the Flash after he disappears and begins to brandish out his own brand of justice. I have to say Dr. Wells, that the future still remains uncertain. Gideon said to HAREM. Tell me about recent events involving Godspeed, HAREM asked, needing to know about anything in the coming days. It would appear in this version of the future Naruto loses it after losing some of his loved ones. This future, it scares me, Dr. Wells. Gideon said as she rarely felt many emotion but she felt something when she saw this. As it does me, Gideon. Naruto usually has more control over his emotions, to begin killing blindly like that is a scary thought. HAREM said as he knew he couldn't kill Naruto if he made his future set in stone. Dr. Wells, this is not a future you should call home. Gideon said in worry. Don't worry Gideon, it'll be alright in the end. HAREM said as he could change the path of the future at this end, and then pulled up possible soon-to-be articles. Meanwhile with Naruto, Caitlyn and Cisco. Cisco was groaning as he experienced brain freeze. How is it I'm the only one to get these? He asked. Naruto and Caitlyn all ate large ice cream quickly. Caitlyn smiled before looking at Naruto, who put some ice cream on her nose. Oh, we're doing that now. Caitlyn said. Ice cream on snow, Naruto said with a smirk. Whatever, fish cake. Caitlyn said, making Cisco smirk. And Cisco, to answer your question, I'm hot and she's ice cold, Naruto said with a smirk. Really? Caitlyn said as she smirked. Hot and cold, want me to walk you home? Naruto asked her. Cisco goes to open his mouth. I swear if that's another Snozuki joke. Caitlyn said, ready to just slap him. Cisco just kept his mouth shut. See ya. Cisco said. Naruto and Caitlyn waved him off as Naruto sped Caitlyn to her home. Hey, thanks. For everything, ever since Ronnie died, I've felt alone for so long. Caitlyn said, looking up at Naruto. Caitlyn, if you ever need me I'm there, you know that right? Naruto asked with a smile. The two stared at each other before Caitlyn leaned up and kissed him on the lips. Caitlyn smiled as she walked inside as Naruto waved to her. As Caitlyn closed the door she just stopped and looked down at her engagement ring. Having conflicted thoughts between her love for Ronnie and the feelings that are rising again between her and Naruto. Naruto walked down the street and touched his lips and smiled, remembering his time with Caitlyn when they dated, then quickly sped off. As Caitlyn watched him from her window. Meanwhile on the rooftops. We see Sapphire Stag in her house getting ready for bed as a silhouette of a large thing watches. It takes one last look before turning into a gas and flying away. Behind a corner we see Nissa walk out and pull out her phone and make a call. You were right, something is watching her, she said over the phone as Kushina called her when she noticed some strange occurrences with Sapphire when she visited her and had meetings. Is she okay? Kushina asked in worry. For now yes, but whatever this thing is, it seems to know where she lives. I don't know what that thing is, but I am beginning to worry for Ms. Stag. Nissa said as whenever she saw this thing she was worried. Keep an eye on her, I have a feeling something bad is going to happen soon. I might not be able to do much, I can feel my father's hand might come into play soon, Nissa said as she could sometimes feel when her father was gonna make a move. Don't worry, if you can't stop that thing, I know some others that can. Kushina said, looking at her phone, and the names Bruce Wayne, Clark Kent, Kara and Alex Danvers were shown. Time to call in some favors, she said with a smile, as some of these would be unpleasant and annoying for the people who couldn't handle her, as she pressed Bruce's number and a woman answered. Hello, the woman said on the other line. Hey Kate. It's Kushina, is Bruce there? Kushina asked with a smirk. Naruto's apartment. What are you up to? Naruto thought as he looked at an old photo of him and Leonard and Lisa snarled at a diner a few years ago. Glad your father is in prison, Lisa. Glad I put him in there. Naruto said as he actually beat the father when Snart and Lisa came home after their dad got too rough with them and he broke their father's arm and leg. Naruto was brought out of his thoughts as Kurama tugged on his brief leg. Sorry boy, I'm getting your breakfast. Naruto said as he gave Kurama some bacon and his special brand of food he whipped up for him. Kurama gnawed the bacon, ripping it apart as he ate it. Naruto looked up out the window to the fire escape before opening the blinds, seeing nothing. Must have been my imagination. Could have sworn I saw somebody, he said, thinking out loud. Nissa was seen at the top of the fire escape, breathing in relief at not getting caught. He's getting better. Nissa said as she was not one someone could easily detect. She watches as a white blur zips out of the apartment complex and goes through the city. That's still cool. Nissa said with a smirk as she needed to get on a train soon, as she needed to go see Laurel, as she hated the hour train rides from here to there and needed to stop Laurel as she believed she was unfit to live up to her former lover's name. Naruto entered his lab at STR Labs with a smile, saying hello to his animals. And walked over to his raccoon Shikaku with a big grin. Good news Shikaku, you just got adopted. He said to his raccoon as he gave him a scratch on the chin. How do you adopt a goddamn raccoon? Cisco asked curiously and angrily as Shikaku hissed at him. Go hiss yourself, he said at the raccoon. Shikaku tried jumping out of Naruto's arms, making Cisco yelp, making Naruto laugh. Not funny, man. Cisco said as the raccoon laughed. Did it just laugh at me? He asked curiously and fearfully. Who'd want that thing anyway? Barry asked before looking as the raccoon hissed at him. Don't mind him, besides Caitlin and me and the other animals he hates everyone. Naruto said as Shikaku had picky tastes. First it was that weird cat, then that beetle of yours, then the octopus, then the horse, then the slug, then the turtle and now the raccoon. What's next on the adoption list, a cobra or a Komodo dragon, which I'm still wondering if you can legally own that monster. Same with half of your little petting zoo of animals in the other parts of your lab. Cisco said as Naruto seemed to own at least one of every animal you could think of. And considering how big of a workspace Naruto has, he has a lot of room. Cobra? Where? Man, I don't do snakes, ever since that one crawled up my pants when I was a kid. Thankfully it was non-venomous. Barry said, shaking a little. Aha, found the little escape artist, Naruto said as he reached behind some of the containers. Only to show Neja was not little, nowhere near the word. Holy SHT. That's not little, that's a monster. Barry said, jumping back. He's just 3 feet long, dude. Cisco said, backing away. Neja began hooding up and looked ready to attack. Oh right, forgot, he doesn't like strangers. But once he gets to know you. Naruto said, petting the back of Neja's head to calm him down. Why do all these animals like Caitlin, but hate me? Well, not all of them like they do Barry. Cisco said as a few animals actually liked Barry as more liked him, but all of them liked Caitlin. What did I do? Barry said, not knowing what he did. He's just being protective of me. Naruto said as he was once a little afraid of snakes, as he was once eaten by one but learned to come to peace with his fear. Believe it or not, once before Naruto was terrified of snakes. Caitlin said as back in the day Naruto couldn't get near one without freaking out. You were afraid of an animal? Barry said, shocked as all animals seemed to love him. He even saw a German shepherd from the police station that didn't like anyone act like an excited puppy to Naruto. Who'd want a raccoon? Cisco asked again. My old friend, Gaara, some of these animals I try looking for homes and some stay here for my research. Shikaku I found when he came into my apartment starving, he said as he was surprised a raccoon made it up his fire escape. The hands. Cisco said as raccoon somewhat creeped him out because they had hands. Shikaku was napping one time when Cisco woke him up, he was so scared he jumped and clung to Cisco's head. Since then he's had a slight fear of raccoons. Naruto said as Cisco wasn't deathly afraid of them but scared nonetheless. How many animals do you have? Barry asked curiously. I'll have to get back to you on that. Naruto said as he lost track. I'm just amazed each of those animals actually help in research fields, Hara-san said as Naruto had discovered a new way to fight rabies from Shikaku. I stay away from the bug section as I have a fear of bee stings. Cisco said as he hated the feeling of being stung. When's this Gaara guy going to show up for that little masked bandit? Barry asked curiously. Naruto froze for a moment, he's not, he was just an old friend and he's not in the city, he just finished the adoption papers, if he wants Shikaku, he said as he missed his fellow Jinchuriki and hoped he was doing well. Well, lucky him, he only gets to see the little bandit once, Cisco said, and he could swear he heard hissing from Naruto's lab. Please don't get a lion or a tiger, he said randomly. Naruto said as he closed the door to the feline section. You have a tiger like Mike Tyson, Barry said as he went over to the door and peeked inside and saw the tiger before closing it as it roared. Yeah, I wasn't kidding when I said I had just about all animals. Okay Shikaku, back to bed. Let's cross our fingers Gaara wants you. Naruto said putting him back before grabbing Neja who was hanging on his shoulders. And you need a bigger home. Caitlin said with a smile. So you've been to his home before? Cisco said as he was then sprints in the face by a spray bottle filled with water. Okay, I deserved that, he said as it was better than getting hit. While Naruto has a great variety of animals, his research is saving millions of species of animals every day. Now on to today's training. Multitasking. Harrison said as he set up the chess boards and Naruto set up the operation game, and finally ping pong as Cisco put it up. Few minutes later. Need to think not just act Barry, Naruto said as Barry made a move that left his king wide open. This isn't even remotely anatomically correct, Caitlin said as she criticized the game as Naruto stood there as Barry went first for the multitasking training. You pinch the tweezers so you don't hit the metal on your way in, Naruto said as he beat Caitlin already getting all the pieces and now she was focusing on Barry. That's not the point, Dr. Snowflake. Barry said before getting glared by Caitlin. Geez, okay, how come he can call you that but I can't, he asked as Naruto did it to tease her when he did Cold Shoulder. Maybe they play doctor, Cisco said throwing Naruto's empty operation at Cisco basically giving Naruto the win even though the score was 12-0. Naruto has basically mastered the ability to multitask but we are still pushing your mind to be able to test your speed as you do this. Wells said as he and Naruto were playing chess. Checkmate, Naruto said as he and Dr. Wells mainly did it for competition now as they both had as many wins as the other. Ever the challenge, Naruto. You know before you there were only two people who could give me a challenge in this game of wits, your parents. Hara's-san said as Naruto's parents helped him with the accelerator. Then he pushed the button on the other board set up for Barry, as for you, Mr. Allen, checkmate. Wells said as Barry sped over. Wait, checkmate. Barry said. Checkmate, guess we have a few more things left to learn don't we Mr. Allen? Soon an alarm went off. Armed robbery at 4th and Collins. Said Cisco. Just for the record I crushed it at ping pong in operation, Barry said as he and Naruto suited up. And I crushed your butt and your times at all three and still won, Naruto said as they speeded off. There can only be one, Cisco said over the comms. Really, Caitlin said giving him a look. With Naruto. I swear these guys are easy, Naruto said speaking so fast only Barry could hear and understand. No joke, Barry said as all four guys were knocked down and was soon alerted when an officer was shot. Then they rushed over to the downed officer. Where's the nearest hospital? Barry asked in urgency. Naruto looked back to the crooks and saw the man who shot the guard and the leader without a face mask who he instantly recognized as Leonard Snart. St. Andrews, 7 blocks north, 2 east. Call the ER, tell them they have an incoming GSW. Barry said, knowing all police terms and phrases. DMN cops. Naruto said, as he wouldn't be able to follow Leonard if the cops were so nearby. They soon heard engines revving as they got away on motorcycles, but their priority right now was getting the officer to the hospital. Later at the STR labs. Leonard? That's almost as bad as Bartholomew. Barry said. Snart, ain't CC either, said Joe. You know this guy? Barry asked in surprise as the others. Yeah, his sister called me recently, told me he was getting ready for a heist. Naruto said, a little guilty. Well, that's not surprising. Cisco said as he received a glare from Naruto. Every 6 months, Lisa gives me a heads up of what he's going after so I don't get caught in the crossfire. As that's when he goes after something. Naruto said. How do you even know this guy? Joe asked curiously, while also curious as to why Naruto never reported this. Me and him and Lisa go way back. We were friends in high school, but I also helped put his father in jail for life. Naruto said as they had history. Can I get her number? Cisco said as he pulled up the Snart family arrest records before Caitlin stepped on his foot, making him groan. Thinking with your lower head later, she said, getting him to focus. Naruto showed them the information on Snart's family. DMN, dude, it says here that you broke 5 of his ribs, dislocated his leg, and shattered his arm, Cisco said, amazed by what Teen Naruto did. Louis Snart was a BSTRD, and a corrupt cop, always taking his anger out on his kids. I knew all about that as my parents let them sleep with us when they'd escaped their house and come over with bruises and black eyes among other wounds. I lost my temper when he went too far and cut them. My parents finally had enough and called the cops. Nobody hurts my friends, not even their own family, like that and gets away with it. Naruto said, not feeling any remorse for what he did to Louis Snart and hoped he was rotting away somewhere. Barry read the report and had to agree the guy had what Naruto did to him coming. What does Mr. Snart want? Haris-san asked Naruto, thinking he'd know more. My guess, the Kondak Dynasty diamond. Naruto said as Leonard was smarter, was most would think. Well, I don't see anything dangerous about this guy, just speed in and knock him down, case closed. Barry said simply. Underestimate Leonard at your peril. He saw us, so I'd imagine he's preparing should we arrive on his next attempt. Naruto said as this was like a game of chess. What's so scary about him? We have super speed, he has nothing. Barry asked curiously. Leonard is smart, he prepares for every contingency, he will get whatever he can get his hands on now. I know him, trust me, Naruto said neutrally. Barry, never, ever underestimate your opponent. A drop of knowledge can stop a wave of strength, that's all it takes to make everything go downhill, he said, trying to teach Barry. Oh really, then what's up with the officer getting shot? Barry asked. Trust me, that wasn't Lenny. Said Naruto, as Leonard didn't like to just shoot people unless he had no choice. Lenny. Cisco said as Lenore just became less scary to him. He only lets me and Lisa call him that, he doesn't let anyone else call him that. Naruto said as someone in school called him that and he beat him for it. So what you're saying, he's got a conscience or something? A man was shot, regardless. Joe said as a man was still shot. Joe, no one knows him like I do. He doesn't like to kill people, he's not some kind of mass murderer. Naruto said as he needed to stop Lenore. Also, here's the guy's name, the one that shot the guard, he said as he looked through the list of known convicts and gave the one to Joe. And how would you know that? Barry asked, looking at the picture. When Lisa calls me, she sends pictures of Snart's crew, as a way to give me a heads up should I see one. Naruto said as Lisa cared for Naruto as she and Leonard wouldn't want him getting caught in the crosshairs of one of Snart's heists. Doesn't like to kill people. Joe repeated, making Naruto groan. Lenny doesn't like the heat, he'd prefer just in and out, as few deaths as he can manage. Said Naruto as Snart may be a criminal but he doesn't like to kill blindly like most criminals. In and out, Cisco said with a laugh before Caitlin stepped on his foot again. Why do you only wear heels, he asked curiously while groaning pain. For moments like that horn dog. Caitlin said as shoes were a woman's best friend. Well, I'm going to give Sing a heads up, you coming? Joe asked. I'll meet you there. I need to make a stop, Naruto said dashing off. Dive bar. You know I'm really starting to think you love old movie cliches, Naruto said as he saw Leonard eating some fries and pickled eggs. I swear you have CRP taste, he said as he sat down next to Leonard. Good to see you too, what's the matter? Didn't call, didn't write, Lisa was worried about you when you went into that coma of yours. Leonard said as he wanted to go see his friend but with his criminal status that one visit would be a straight trip to prison. You're after the diamond aren't you? Naruto asked as the two could read each other. You know me so well, pass the ketchup would you? Leonard asked as he held out his hand. I also know that you've heard about the streak and Godspeed. I also know you well enough to know that you're probably prepared for them. Naruto said as Leonard always prepared for outside factors. Snart chuckled, you really know how I think. It is good to see you, I hear you're working with the police now, he said with a smirk. Any inside information you can send my way, he asked with a devious smirk. Not a chance, besides I know you. Whatever it is you're prepared for it. Naruto said passing him the ketchup. You don't survive in the criminal world by being stupid. Snart said as Naruto knew more than he let on usually. Look, just be careful. Lisa needs you, you're the family she has left. Naruto said not even thinking that the father could be considered family. Don't worry about me, I can handle myself. Just don't get in the way, Lisa would kill me if I hurt you. But don't forget, you and your family are the only other ones I see as family. Leonard said as he would never rob Naruto's parents. You're confident, what do you have that makes you think you can handle these two heroes? Naruto asked as Leonard wasn't one for false confidence or bravado. Now that would be telling. Leonard said as he was meeting a high-tech illegal arms deal. Just don't die okay? Criminal or not you're still my friend. Naruto said as he knew it was gonna SCK to bring him in when they next fought. Hey, it's me we're talking about here. It was good to see you again. Snart said as he finished his food and put money on the table as he put on a hat and walked away. Your friend is short, the waitress said as she counted the money and it wasn't enough for the bill. I know, same old Lenny, said Naruto as he couldn't help but smirk as he got out his wallet. 1 hour later. So that's your new toy. Naruto muttered to himself as he was on the phone with Caitlin and Cisco as they sent him the schematics over his phone. Naruto, I'm so sorry man. Cisco said as he prepared it to stop a speedster. We can talk about it later, I gotta go. Naruto said as he knew Leonard was in his observation stage of his usual heists. Just as he goes to speed off he gets a text that Snart was spotted at the museum. Knew it, he said as Leonard would never take his sights off his prize till he got it. Naruto sped over to the theater just in time to move Barry out of the way, but the weapon Snart fired grazed Barry's side. You okay? Naruto asked as he knew their bodies could survive due to their speed. Gah, it burns. Barry said as his skin was so cold it felt like it was burning. Snart fires freezing the pillar Barry was standing behind before moving. Time for a test run. Let's see how fast you are. Leonard said looking at the civilians around. Don't do it, Naruto thought as he had seen. Snart fired at the civilians and watched as Barry and Naruto sped and grabbed them. He glances behind him to see a guard who had his walkie-talkie in one hand and his gun in the other ready to shoot Leonard, and out of reflex he blasted the guard. Barry and Naruto tried running to the guard but Barry wasn't fast enough, but Naruto luckily was, but the guard had his arm slightly hit. Leonard got out while the guard was down. I'll be back. I'll bring him to the ER. Naruto said as he had to leave Barry and bring the guard to a nearby hospital and came back. At STR Labs. Barry had his shirt raised showing where he got hit. Good news, the man will live. Who are you? Naruto said as he sped in seeing a nicely dressed blonde woman. Felicity, and there is another guy like you? Felicity asked curiously. Barry, that wound is presenting itself like third-degree frostbite. I thought he had hyper-healing. Felicity asked curiously. It's been slowed. Frostbite slows the cells down. We may heal faster than people, but even this will take a while, Naruto said as he remembered having slight frostbite after his fight with Haku, but kept his mask on around Felicity. Snart wasn't another metahuman. He had some kind of gun. It froze things, slowed me down, enough that I almost couldn't save someone. Barry said. According to his record, Snart didn't even finish high school, so how'd he make a high-tech ice maker? Felicity said. Naruto sent Cisco a look knowing he needed to spill his guts. STR Labs built the cold gun, Harrison said giving Cisco a disappointed look. Dr. Wells and Caitlin had nothing to do with this. I built the gun. Cisco said filled with complete guilt shocking Barry. You did? Why? Barry asked wondering why he built it. Because speed and cold are opposites. Temperature is measured by how quickly the atoms of something are oscillating. The faster they are, the hotter it is, and when things are cold they're slower on the atomic level dash, he was saying. And when there's no motion at all, it's called absolute zero. Naruto finished as he examined and learned other theories on speed to somewhat understand his powers better. I designed a compact cryo engine to achieve absolute zero. I built it to stop you or Naruto. Cisco said as it was built to stop them both. Naruto aside, I didn't know who you were then, Barry. What if you turned out to be like some psycho like Nimbus or Martin, he said as he felt the need to justify his actions as that was what they were doing before Barry even woke up. But I didn't. Did I? Barry said angrily as he felt betrayed. We built the entire structure you're standing in to do good, and it blew up. In the wake of that, you can understand why Cisco would want to be prepared for the worst. Caitlin said as she could understand why Cisco did what he did. I can understand that, but what I can't understand is why you didn't tell me what you did. I mean, after all we've been through, I thought you trusted me, I thought we were friends, Barry said in a hurt tone. We are. Barry, listen, I can understand why he did what he did, okay, Naruto said as he could understand Cisco's reasons. I mean, if he would have just told me, I could have been prepared. But instead a man almost died tonight. Barry said angrily. And thanks to us no one died, Naruto said seriously. Barry walked away. So who is she exactly? Naruto said pointing to Felicity. Oh, Felicity smoke pleasure, Felicity said with a smile. Godspeed. Naruto said, not wanting to compromise his identity. Oh my god. Felicity said as this reminded her of Oliver when he started out as the Arrow. You do realize you are famous, right? You're like a young Bruce Wayne. Cisco said to Naruto as he didn't know how true that statement was, as Naruto glared at him. Yeah, I know who you are, the son of Kushina and Minato Namikaze, the heir to Whirlpool Incorporated, among 500,000 other things. Felicity said as she only knew it was him because Barry spilled. Naruto growled. What did I say? Felicity asked curiously. He kinda doesn't like it when people only know about him through his parents and the company. Caitlin said as he didn't like being defined by who his parents were. Kinda like how Caitlin doesn't like it when people only know about her through her mother, Carla TT Dang, can't ever get her last name right. Cisco said getting hit, I swear, is abusing me all you know how to do, he asked her. Caitlin just smiled happily making him shiver. Felicity works with the Arrow, Cisco said getting a, what the hell, look from Felicity as Barry already spilled to them. So how is it working with the Arrow, does he have friends? What do they call themselves, Hammer, Bullet, Spatula? Joked Naruto. Yeah, why don't we just give ourselves super names with what we have on us? Cisco said with a laugh. Okay, so his name is kinda lame. Felicity said as she thought it could have been better. Besides shooting arrows and a different costume, this guy is kinda like Batman. Just kinda like a downgrade. Cisco said as he loved Batman as he sometimes hacked into Gotham's GCPD to see reports on some of his tech. Downgrade, I'd say the Arrow gets along just fine. Felicity said, not having a problem with the green hooded hero's style. All he has is a bow and his arrows. Batman has just about everything. The Batwing, Batmobile, etc. If this guy has enough money for his high-tech arrows, then why can't he get stuff like that? Naruto said curiously as he removed his mask. And then there's the whole domino mask thing, like dude, everyone can see the rest of your face, you think covering your eyes and part of your nose is going to protect your identity? He added as Felicity laughed at that. Remember the face paint Oliver used to put on himself. Works for Robin, wait, or is it Nightwing now or both? Cisco said as the name of the bird Wonder had changed a lot and there had even been rumors of a replacements. I just say the world is filled with idiots, you'd have to be one if you can fall for those stupid masks. Caitlin said as she once colored over a newspaper with Barry's face and he exactly matched the Flash. Felicity chuckled as she wished her team was more like this as they were all mostly serious. Now that we have established we are all super nerds. Let's get started trying to find this ice maker. Naruto said as he knew Leonard would be in hiding as he set up multiple safe house locations if he was ever spotted. Don't suppose you could give that Lisa girl a call? Cisco said with a teasing smirk. Hey, don't go there. Besides, she keeps changing her number. Naruto said not even 100% sure the number he saved was still good and he didn't even know if Lisa was in town. Cisco said thinking of what to say next. Choose your next words very carefully. Naruto said as he glared at Cisco. Shutting up. Cisco said valuing his own life. Naruto sat down for a moment going over the specs when he felt a stray thought come to his mind and pulled up a Starling City News article and saw Oliver Queen returned a week before the Arrow showed up and Felicity worked for Queen Consolidated. So is it true? Felicity asked curiously. Is what true? Naruto asked wondering what C was asking. That you really have a HRM? Felicity asked as it was mostly a rumor on the web. Yeah, why interested in joining? Naruto asked as she started blushing. What no I am good, Felicity said as she blushed a little as she had wild experiences in college. Relax, I'm just teasing. Naruto said as he didn't just invite random women in. An hour later. We see Barry running on the treadmill as Felicity and Naruto come in. Barry. Felicity said. What are you still doing here? You should head back to your hotel, get some sleep. Barry said stopping. You should too. Not go back to my hotel, I meant get some sleep. Barry sits on the treadmill. I can't. Every time I close my eyes, I see that man's face, screaming in pure agony. I have to go faster. Barry said his only comfort was knowing that the man was alive in the hospital. Barry, it's not your fault. And it's not Cisco's, either. Barry, I know you're upset, but you have to look at this from his point of view. Naruto said as it was important to see things how others would as it caused less problems for everyone. No, I get it. He didn't trust me. Barry said as Cisco made it when he didn't even know him. Barry, when you met us, me, Oliver, and Dig, we were this well-oiled archery machine. But it didn't start that way. And unlike you guys, we weren't tossed together overnight. We came together one at a time. Believe me, it took much more than watching Oliver do the salmon ladder to make me trust him, she said with a smile remembering how they started. Well, that confirms that theory, Naruto said as he surprised Felicity as she forgot he was here. Don't worry, I'll keep my trap shut unlike our friend in red over there, he said to Felicity. Barry scoffs. I've seen firsthand what this life can do to people. It's a lonely path, don't make it any lonelier than it has to be. Look man, I get it, you're mad, but look at us. If we went bad we could ruin this city. Naruto said as they were capable of stopping bullets and shredding things on the molecular level. Naruto groans as Barry ignores him. 30 minutes later. Barry was standing in front of the monitors waiting for Snart to make his move. I figured out a way to track Captain Cold. Cisco said, not even acting excited. You gotta stop naming these guys. Caitlin said. Barry, listen to him. Wells said as Barry needed to listen to them and not give in to his anger. Barry sighs as he turns around. How? The cold gun is powered by an engine control unit, a microcomputer that regulates air-to-fuel ratios so the subcooled fluid in the cambers don't overflow and explode. Naruto and Felicity said as they looked at each other in surprise. Right. This ECU was receiving updates wirelessly from my tablet. If I boost the signal using Central City's network and send a false update, we'll get a ping back, and then we can locate Snart. Naruto and Felicity said again. How long will it take? Barry asked curiously. Well, first I need to hack into the network, so I don't know, 30 minutes, maybe? Cisco said. I can do it in less than one. When it comes to hacking, I'm the fastest woman alive. Felicity said as she popped her fingers before shaking her hands in pain. Ow. That was not as badass as I pictured. She said as she never really cracked her hands before. Alright, I'm in. Felicity said with a smirk. Are you kidding? Caitlin asked as that was incredible. Alright, I'm sending the updates. We're connected. Felicity said, letting her skills do all the talking for her. Network is triangulating the location. Cisco said as he tried isolating the position. We got him. He's dash, Caitlin was saying. Heading for the train station. Naruto said, interrupting her. Yeah, how'd you know that? Caitlin asked, wondering how he knew. Because no one but Lisa knows Snart like I do. If he's leaving, he's got what he wanted. Naruto said as he knew this was Leonard's play. There was a gust of wind as Barry suited up. When we put our minds to it, dude, nothing can stop us. Naruto said as he got dressed as well. Barry didn't say anything but touch his earpiece, shutting off his comms. Oh, you turned your earpiece off. How are we gonna talk to each other? Cisco asked. I don't feel like talking right now. Barry said before speeding off. I'll leave them on, Naruto said as he knew it was a bad idea to go in blind. Few minutes later. I swear people always want to be on the train to do this dumb macho fight on train SHT, Naruto said as fighting on a train has been something a lot of people have wanted to do cause it was in a lot of movies and cartoons. He and Barry burst into the train. There's nowhere to run. Barry said confidently. I swear, Naruto thought as his comments and jokes had merit. I didn't see you before. Your mom know you're out past your bedtime? Leonard asked, looking at Barry. If you wanted to get away you should have taken something faster than a train. Barry said, making Naruto's eyes widen. That's if I wanted to get away. I've seen your weakness at the armored car, then at the theater. See, while you're busy saving everybody, I'll be saving myself. Leonard said, pointing his gun down, freezing the tracks, making all the carts behind them derailed. Good luck with that, he said before jumping off. Everything slowed for the two of them as white lightning shined in Naruto's eyes while yellow was in Barry's. They began speeding and rescuing the passengers. Naruto grunted as he rolled onto the ground, looking at his leg as he got cut as Barry laid on his back before grunting in pain as Snart shot him in the back. Pretty fast, kid. But not fast enough. Snart said, aiming his gun at Barry. Thank you. Snart said with a smirk. For what? Barry asked, a little confused. You forced me to up my game, not only with this gun, but with how I think about the job. It's been educational. Snart said. Wait, you say you like the challenge, right? Where's the challenge in this? Naruto said. Drop it. Cisco said with a gun-like device. Snart didn't get to answer as he turned around to see Cisco, Caitlin and Felicity holding some thing. This is a prototype cold gun, 4 times the size, 4 times the power. Cisco said, trying to sound threatening. I was wondering who you were talking to. Snart said, looking at the flash and Godspeed. Hey, unless you want a taste of your own medicine, I'd back the hell up. Cisco said confidently. Your hands are shaking. You've never killed anyone. Snart said as he recognized fear when he saw it. There's a first time for everything, Captain Cold. Cisco said as he was willing to do whatever it took to protect his friends. Snart smirks as he likes that name. Cold, I like that, he said with a smirk. I will shoot you. Cisco said seriously. After a tense moment, Snart points the gun away. You win, kid. I'll see you around. Snart said as he may have been willing to roll the dice, but this was something he couldn't predict as fear made people do crazy things. Hey, leave the diamond. Cisco said, still aiming the gun. Don't push your luck. Snart said, knowing he wouldn't pull the trigger. Cisco powers down the device and turns back to Barry and Naruto. I couldn't shoot him even if I wanted to. This is actually the STR Labs vacuum cleaner with a lot of LEDs. Cisco said as he loved the high tech they had. Let's get you warm. Felicity said. Are you okay? Caitlin said, helping Naruto up as she saw the gash on his leg. Yeah, some of the train's debris got me, I'm good. Naruto said as the wound was already cauterized. Thank you. Barry said to Cisco. Too bad about the diamond. You mean this diamond? Naruto said, holding the real diamond as he switched them when Snart was close enough. How'd you get it? Felicity asked as she monitored the cameras and didn't see an opportunity he could've. As Snart was busy talking on the train, I sped over and grabbed it out of his pocket. Which he should be finding out, right about. They hear Snart shouting in rage. Now. Naruto said with a smirk as he loved his pickpocketing skills, as not even Leonard knew the entire time. Hang out with some bad kids in high school, you pick up things. I am one hell of a prankster, he said as ironically Leonard taught him as well to up his skills. You guys head to STR Labs, I got someone to see. Naruto said, limping for a second. But what about Dash? Caitlin stopped seeing Naruto's gash completely healed. What about the diamond? Barry asked as it needed to be returned. Don't worry, I got it handled. Naruto said, dashing away. An hour later. We see Naruto sitting at a diner as he drinks his coffee before someone puts hands over his eyes. Guess who? Lisa said, letting out a purr as she spoke right in his ear. She removed her arms as he turned around and she kissed him. I've been waiting 9 months to do that, again, she said as she was always wondering what his condition was. Hello Lisa, still as appealing as ever. I've been waiting 9 months to see you, and that's all. Not even a present? You mean like this? Naruto said as he pulled out the Kondak Dynasty diamond from his pocket. Is that the Kondak diamond? For me? Lisa said in surprise, no gold ring, baby, she said, sitting in his lap. It's an exact replica, made courtesy of my family's company, gotta love tech, and you know I feel about marriage. Naruto said with a smirk. Giving me a precious gem, you know me so well. Lisa said, taking the diamond. Not as precious as you are, my golden glider, he said as she smiled before leaning down to kiss him. The diamond has been moved, and replaced with a fake. I took the liberty to reverse engineer an exact duplicate of it for you, he said, as there was no way Lenny wouldn't try stealing the real diamond again, so he might have just given it to Lisa to say she pulled one over on Lenny. Real or not, I love it. Lisa said, kissing him some more. Keep those kisses up and we may have to take it to the house. He said. I haven't been with anyone in 9 months, I welcome that. Lisa said as she wraps her arms around his neck and they kiss some more. Then Naruto's phone rings, making them stop. I should probably get that. He said, answering it seeing as it was his mom. Hey mom, what's up? He asked before his smile dropped and a look of worry replaced it. What? I'll be right there. He said, hanging up and getting up. What's wrong? Lisa asked in worry. That was my mom, Sapphire's been kidnapped. Naruto said. Later we see him standing in Sapphire's office as there is a huge hole through it. Someone made that, Naruto said, as he'd seen Superman do it enough times to know when it was made by a person. Barry and Joe came in and whistled seeing the hole. We got a hold of the footage from the security cameras, you are not going to believe what was on it. Said Eddie holding a tablet. Naruto was a little careful around Eddie as his mind drifted back to his time in the Speed Force. Flashback. What is that? Naruto asked as the Speed Force brought him somewhere full of darkness and hatred. This is the negative Speed Force, a disgusting opposite to myself where negative speedsters draw on negative emotions and darkness, the Speed Force said in Kakashi's form. What does that have to do with me? Naruto asked curiously. Because I am here to warn you about a certain negative speedster Thon, the Speed Force said, he is a man that has broken all the rules a speedster has, he said. Rules? Naruto asked as it never mentioned this before. He went back in time and murdered the mother of another speedster. Speedsters are forbidden from tampering with the time stream, the Speed Force said. Then why haven't you punished him? Naruto asked as he knew the Speed Force had something in here. For a time he was connected to us, but then when he found his connection beginning to waver, he created his own Speed Force. It is hard for us to pinpoint him as his connection to the negative Speed Force allows him to hide. As it is our opposite making him invisible to us, the Speed Force said. So what other rules are there? Naruto asked curiously. Never tamper with the speed inside of you as you may be able to use it to try and convert it to energy. Never try anything to push it past your limit as the Speed Force in your body is like a muscle that can't be forced into something, the Speed Force said with a serious look. And I'm going to take a crack and say that with this negative Speed Force, was never made like how you are. Naruto asked. No, Thon made it so he could travel back in time without the speedster of his time knowing, as only speedsters connected to us can feel others, the Speed Force said, as all speedsters were connected to the Speed Force as that is what fueled their powers. Naruto knew he had to be careful as the Speed Force seemed to be a force of goodness that responded well to good emotions. Okay, what powers do I have? And the lightning on this guy, it's yellow. Why is mine white? Naruto said as once he gained his speed he saw someone running with gold lightning behind him. Lightning comes in all shapes and sizes and colors, the Speed Force said as it created yellow, gold, blue, and white lightning. And I'm guessing the color means something? Naruto said. Yes and no. Red lightning like Thon shows his connection to the negative Speed Force. Blue lightning is the indicator of alternative means of speed, a drag or artificial means of going faster, the Speed Force said. Think of it as a multiplier for your natural speed that gets stronger as you go. Think of two people with the same body and same speed, one gets hit by lightning that doubles it, the other triple it. But that doesn't mean the one with double the speed can't learn to go faster, or the one with superior speed can't sometimes push beyond their limits, the Speed Force said. So basically my lightning is white because I'm fast? Naruto asked. Yes, faster than most, but that doesn't make you the best or someone can't surpass you, the Speed Force said, wanting him to have and no humility. Okay, what about powers? What powers do I have? Naruto asked curiously. With the Speed Force it grants you amazing speed, the ability to manipulate your lightning, but most importantly it comes from your imagination and spirit, the Speed Force said, as the Speed Force was more than just science, it was a living thing that responded to what was inside the person. Flashback end. Eddie showed the video and they saw some kind of mist come in through the vents before taking shape in front of Sapphire. It was huge, its whole body was different colors. They saw it point a hand at Sapphire and shoot some gas, causing her to fall asleep before it took her. Naruto growled as he clenched his hands and looked out to the city through the hole. Meanwhile in Starling City. Hello Ms. Smoke. Nisa said, surprising Felicity, who jumped in surprise. Are you here to kill me? Felicity asked, wondering why Nissa was waiting here. Not yet. Nissa said jokingly, but Felicity didn't seem to catch on. I'm joking, she said in a serious tone. So why are you here? Felicity asked, wondering if Oliver knew about this. I have a mission that requires me in Central City, but don't let Oliver think that I won't still be here. Nissa said seriously, as she was wondering what was happening with Laurel, as she seemed to be avoiding her. With who? Felicity asked, wondering if it was her superhero friends in the city, as Nissa only seemed to fight the best. Suddenly Nissa's phone rang. Yes. What? I'll look into it, she said quickly, hanging up. Who was that? Felicity asked in slight worry, as the assassin woman was very dangerous and could be scary in her opinion. A friend, she just told me Sapphire Stag has been kidnapped by a creature. Nissa said, as Felicity was surprised, wondering if it was a meta-human, as Barry showed her the containment cell with a man turning into poison gas. Meanwhile, down in the sewers we see a behemoth-like creature walking. You're finally mine, all mine. It said crazily, as it holds an unconscious and slightly wounded Sapphire Stag, as she had a small bruise on the side of her head. And nobody is going to take you away from me this time, it said with a crazed smile. Bar. This is bullshit. Naruto said angrily. I had a hard enough time getting drunk, now super speed has killed it, he said angrily, as normally it was very hard for him to get drunk, now it seems like it's impossible. What's his problem? Barry asked curiously. Lots of people used to try and outdrink him. Dude has like this immunity to alcohol. You know, like how the Vikings drank. I swear that's how this guy had to drink to get drunk. Cisco said, as he and Ronnie lost a lot of money to get Naruto drunk. Lots of ladies tried drinking with me hoping I'd get wasted, but they'd always be on the floor, and no, Cisco, not like that. Naruto said, as he knew Cisco would make a comment. It must be your hypermetabolism. I need to take samples. Caitlin said, as she had a BLD collection kit in. Ooh, Dr. Snow, wait until dash, Cisco said with a smirk. Finish that sentence and you'll be the one I poke. Caitlin said, taking out a small device that took Naruto's BLD. Guys, this is a real problem, Barry said, as he had enough problems in his life and getting wasted seemed like a good way to solve them. We all do when guys like him exist. Cisco said with a laugh. They looked at Naruto playing darts with Eddie, who soon lost money, signifying they were betting. Yeah, he's still so hot. Caitlin said, as she usually preferred the cold before realizing what she said. I mean, genetically speaking. Because I'm a geneticist, of course. Am I sounding like Felicity right now? She asked curiously. I'm not talking about what's between you and him. This sucks. I'm 25 and my drinking days are over. Barry said, realizing what Naruto was saying as he tasted the alcohol went down, but he couldn't feel its effect, then realized Caitlin only took Naruto's BLD. Why only take his BLD? Barry asked curiously. He's faster, meaning if I can solve it for his BLD it'll definitely work for your body, Caitlin said, as it was simple logic. Yo, Iris, there's been a bombing, I gotta go. Eddie said, as he gave Iris a quick kiss and ran out of the bar after getting a message on his phone. They're playing our song, Naruto said to Barry as they ran outside and went to a nearby alley, then dashed to STR Labs and got their gear. Barry stopped, but Naruto just went up the building when they saw a window washer was hanging from his machine. Dude, you just ran up a building, Cisco said as they just arrived at the lab. Oh. Naruto said as he got the washer down and saw Iris. The two speedsters began vibrating their heads so she couldn't see them as they saw her. Then they sped away. Barry went away. Naruto went home to his lab, which was littered with papers, as he was looking for Sapphire, trying to find any sign of her, and had been here since she was kidnapped and only went out tonight as Caitlin basically threatened him. Where are you, Saf? Said Naruto, as he has literally used everything he and his family's company had trying to find her. In the morning. Naruto didn't get much sleep last night, as we see him under the sheets of his bed before his phone began ringing as he put an arm out trying to get it. Hello, Naruto said, tiredly, wanting to go back to dreamland. Hey, guess where you were supposed to be? Barry said with a laugh over the phone. The bombing incident. Naruto asked as this was the first time he was ever late, so he doubted Singh would give him any CRP. Don't worry, I handled it, but you need to get to STR Labs. Now. Barry said, hanging up the phone. Naruto groaned before getting up and finding a letter above his bed put there by an arrow. Oliver, I swear if this is your attempt on being funny. Naruto said as he knew Felicity definitely told him he knew but realized this arrow was black with a red tip instead of the arrow's regular green. The young Miss Stagg isn't in Central City, widen your search area, the letter said in neat handwriting. Across the street. Let's test that will of yours, Naruto Namikaze, Nissa said, wanting to test Naruto's devotion and whether he'd make or break. She watches with a smile as Naruto sped around his house getting his clothes before going to STR Labs. At STR Labs. Naruto walked in with a glass of water before putting a pill in it, causing it to fizzle before taking a drink. Barry opens his mouth. I have been up all night, dude, so shut it, he said with a glare. I was gonna say that won't work, Barry said with a laugh. I don't have AF hangover, I've been trying to find Sapphire. I have a headache, and I just remember drags don't work F my life, Naruto said as he forgot drags don't work either as his body burned through it. Where are you on the DMN case anyway? He asked curiously. It's been taken out of the CCPD's hands. Barry said. By who? Who can do that? Naruto asked as there were only a few organizations that could do that. Some general, Barry said, not realizing Naruto glared at him. Was his name Wade Ealing? Naruto asked him as Barry nodded. Naruto squeezed his glass cup, shattering it. We're gonna F his SHT up, he wants to solve this, we're getting in his way, he said as he wanted Ealing to pay. What the hell is wrong with you? Barry asked as that sounded extreme. General Eiling and STR Labs have a little history. Harrison said, wheeling into the cortex. What kinda history? Barry asked as Naruto seemed very angry. Ealing experimented on Naruto's gorilla when he was out of the city for a while, and Naruto's animals are allowed to be tested on legally speaking, and since this was the government, much less red tape, Cisco said as he didn't like the gorilla much but he didn't deserve what he got. He tortured Grodd is what he did. Naruto shouted angrily. Naruto, calm down, you always get worked up whenever Eiling is mentioned. Harrison said as he understood Naruto's anger. DMN right, I will, Naruto said with a hateful look. Never F with his animals, Cisco said to Barry, never want to see who he'll chose to save, he said as he knew Naruto loved and respected animals. Alright, didn't the VA upgrade to computers? Look it up. Naruto said as he looked at the folder Barry got. Gotcha. Cisco said, doing his tech magic. A lot of redacted info, but her name is Bet-san Susi, he said. When Ealing worked here he worked on certain computers linked up to the mainframe, maybe we can look into her army file, Naruto said as Ealing was kicked out the building and he filed many lawsuits with him not allowed in the building. Bingo. Cisco said as he pulled up the woman's army profile. It says she's deceased and most of her info is missing, and the only thing it does say is she's a EOD specialist for the army, Naruto said as this was what the government did if their soldiers was MIA or they were blacklisted. That can't be a coincidence. Girl worked with bombs and we have a bomb maker show up. Caitlin said. Is there an address? Emergency contact, anything? Barry asked curiously as army soldiers usually had specified people to go to. Just a doctor's address. Cameron Scott. Inglewood. Cisco said as the two speedsters suited up. Oh no, you're ticked off enough as it is. I'll go. Barry said. Like hell you are benching me, Naruto said as he wasn't being benched. Dude dash, Barry was saying. Try and stop me. Naruto said running past him. Not the leader dude, we didn't vote. Cisco said as Naruto could be brash but always followed his heart and gut. Barry let out a sigh before he appeared in the alley seeing Naruto in his underwear. What the hell happened dude? He asked suppressing a laugh and felt self-conscious as Naruto had way more muscles and abs than him with his basic six-pack. Laugh and I'll rip your legs off. Naruto said as he ran to the lab, having to pat his underwear as they lit on fire, and grabbed some STR lab sweat gear. "Where is my suit?" Cisco asked. "Technically it's my suit, or was," Naruto said as he made his suits, but Cisco usually maintained them so they were always ready. "Don't ask," Barry said, suppressing a laugh. "I'm gonna ask, where's my suit? He used my extra suit to make his, so technically it's still mine, so where is my suit?" Cisco said demandingly. "A babe blew it up," Naruto said. "Oh, so another woman got you out of your clothing, how surprising," Cisco said, neutrally, getting a laugh from Barry. Naruto growled angrily. "Look, I understand you have no love life, but stop making fun of mine," he said as he was literally in public in his underwear. "Wouldn't be anything I haven't seen already. What is wrong with me today?" Caitlin said under her breath as she was blushing slightly. "Look, all she did was touch the emblem and then it went boom. I was lucky my underwear wasn't blown up," Naruto said as he would be the new streak, as he would have been running naked outside if he lost his underwear. Caitlin's blush increased with a small lost-in-thought smile as she remembered Naruto's naked body, as his Adonis-like body was etched into her mind. "Gotta say, this woman was hot, I call dibs," Naruto said to Cisco. "Oh please, hot women are a dime a dozen with you, just how hot dash," Cisco was saying till he pulled up her photo. "You're a PP calling dibs," he said as she was very hot. Naruto noticed Caitlin looking down slightly. "Remarkable, a woman who can create spontaneous combustion upon tactile contact," Hara's-san said with an impressed and intrigued look. "Sounds like the times I was dash," Naruto said, remembering a certain explosive Akatsuki member that tried to kill him. "What dude?" Cisco said as he sometimes got a weird vibe Naruto went somewhere else, almost literally. "Sorry, another SEC joke, anyways." "Joe, what are you doing here?" Naruto said, quickly changing the subject. "Metahuman bomb maker, huh? Must be Tuesday," Joe said with a normal look, seemingly adjusting to this life. "We got to find her before Eiling does," Naruto said as he wanted to be done with Eiling. "Barry, Naruto, can I talk to you for a second?" Joe asked. "What did I do?" Naruto asked as Barry shrugged as they went out into the hall. "When were you gonna tell me Iris saw you too?" Joe said as he liked to be kept in the loop. "Hey, that was unexpected," Naruto said, not expecting her to be there, but she must have taken off after everyone left and she was alone. "Yeah, we got caught off guard," Barry said as he didn't expect her there. "We had a deal. You keep her in the dark about the metas, and I don't go Floyd Mayweather on you too," Joe said. "No, our deal is that I don't tell her what I can do. I can't control if she learns about metahumans, or not," Naruto said as he didn't agree to the things Joe did with Barry. "I'll give you that, but did you know she's writing a blog now?" Joe asked curiously. "I already talked to her about that," Barry said as he knew about it. "Talk to her again. And be more convincing," Joe said as he knew his daughter to this day was rebellious. Joe, think about this, the guy who was raised alongside her since he was 11 telling everyone that a man in a yellow suit inside lightning killed his mom. He's been looking into this stuff ever since that day, and now he's suddenly not as interested as he should be. It'll tell her that dash, Naruto was saying. "I'm hiding something," Barry said as it would seem out of character for him. "Look, just try something, okay, please," said Joe as his daughter never took his advice. Barry looked at Naruto. "Go handle the Iris thing, I'll help find Bet," Naruto said as he went to narrow down his search, as he had been trying to do the same for Sapphire Stag. "Thanks," Barry said as he ran out the lab. Naruto went into the cortex and sat on the computer and began typing away. "Where are you?" he thought, not knowing if he was talking about Sapphire or Bet. "What are you doing?" Cisco said as he saw government-like software hacking into Eiling's surveillance. Naruto said as the general may have been into cutting-edge advancements but still used old-school means like paper files to hide his activities or kept them on his computer. "She's at a military surgeon's office named Harold Hadley. He's in Inglewood." The same guy who did several procedures on her. That's why she was looking for the folder. Sasuke sighed as Naruto suited up. Don't have this one blown up, he said, hoping her heard him. Just be glad I don't blow you up, I'm gone. Naruto said as they have blown up the labs before. Naruto sped over to Inglewood, to where Bet was, and saw the army and Ealing, and it took every ounce of willpower he had not to go over and knock the man's teeth in. He sped into the office and saw her and the doctor. Before he could do anything, Bet was shot in the shoulder. Go bring me my asset. Ealing said to a soldier. I can help you understand what happened to you, Naruto said, vibrating his vocal cords to sound different. How? Bet asked curiously. It happened to me too, Naruto said as she nodded, and they sped off. 1 hour later. As the detonation dispersed throughout Central City, a number of people were exposed to a wave of unquantifiable energy. One of them was you were in the city 10 months ago. HAREM said to Bet, showing her a 3D video of the accelerator explosion. I thought Ealing did this to me, Bet asked as she had visions of being in and out of surgeries. Pfft, that guy. Ha, like he could ever create someone like you. Naruto said, getting a smirk from the woman. What were you doing in Central City 10 months ago? Barry. I was here recuperating from shrapnel as a bomb went off in Afghanistan. Next thing I know I wake up and I've become the very thing that almost killed me. Bet said as when she woke up in the hospital she accidentally blew up the room. Who else has been affected by this? She asked curiously. A few others. HAREM having no way to tell her exactly. But none that look like you. Sasuke said, getting groans from Barry and Naruto. Smooth as sandpaper, dude. Naruto said, shaking his head. I'm sorry. That was inappropriate. Please don't leave. I know how to perform a lobotomy. Caitlin whispered to Sasuke, who shifted away from her uncomfortably. Hot. Naruto said, making Caitlin smile. So can you fix me? Bet asked curiously and hopefully. Maybe, but first we need to see what you can do, HAREM said, as there was only so much they could learn from non-active tests. You want her to blow stuff up? Now we're talking. Sasuke said, sounding a little too excited. You were shot, Caitlin said, seeing blood trail down her arm, and removed her jacket, and as she examined the wound, it's beeping, she said as she heard it from the wound and pulled something out, the beeping getting louder. It's a tracker. No, please don't beep, Naruto said as he went to the cameras and saw Ealing and soldiers were in the elevator. Naruto, get her out of here and ditch the tracker somewhere else, I'll handle Ealing. HAREM said as he knew Naruto would put her life over his revenge. HAREM, Ealing said as he came out the elevator with armed troops. Hello Wade, HAREM said as he, like Naruto, didn't respect the man. Where is your young protege? Ealing said as he tried many things to acquire Naruto. You leave him out of this, Ealing. You know that kid has a mean right hook, cracked my skull in 9 places getting his monkey back. Ealing said as he was always impressed by Naruto. Grodd was a gorilla, you idiot, and I remember that day. It's a day I will always look back and laugh about. HAREM said, letting out a chuckle. Where's my asset? Ealing asked in a demanding tone. What asset? HAREM asked, playing dumb. Don't play dumb with me, we tracked her here. Ealing said as he then checked the tracker, seeing it halfway across the city. Did you sure you're looking at that thing right? HAREM asked as it was fun making Ealing look like an idiot. Another day, Wells. Ealing said before taking his soldiers and leaving as Wells let out a big sigh of relief. Where'd you place the tracker? HAREM asked. Naruto, over an earpiece comm. A bird, Naruto said with a smirk. Clever, HAREM said as Ealing wouldn't notice that for a few days. Next day. Dude, no, just no, Naruto said as Sasuke brought a boomerang. Doing it anyway. Sasuke said. I'm sorry this happened to you, but we will find a way to help you, I promise. Naruto said as he walked with her as Sasuke prepared. Humph, handsome, smart and sticks to his word, where were you in my high school or college days? Bet asked with a smirk. Naruto chuckled, no idea, but we will help you. I actually have a working theory how your powers work. You might be secreting it through sweat or your atoms spreading it through touch, he said as he did scans on Bet. I will say this much, it's nice to be around you all. Especially you and her. Bet said, making Naruto raise an eyebrow. The doctor, she clarified. No, I got that, but you confused me. Don't tell anyone this, but, Bet was saying. You're bisexual? Naruto asked curiously. Bet blushed slightly, making sure no one was listening to them before nodding. I never had a preference growing up, I liked guys, I liked girls. Just anyone who sparked my interest, she said in honesty. Naruto followed her gaze to Caitlyn bending over typing on a computer looking at her hips. I see what you mean, he said as he sometimes wondered how it would have worked out with her, and did we spark? Naruto asked with a smirk as he made his eyes crackle with electricity. You are cute, there's no doubt. Bet said as she checked him out more than she did most people. So what happened between you two? Did you break up? She asked curiously, seeing the way he looked at Caitlyn. More like drifting apart because of work. It demanded a lot among other things, but I think the spark is still there. Naruto said as was how he felt. She has an engagement ring. Bet asked, wondering if they'd been engaged. She found someone else when she came back but lost him. The accelerator explosion killed her fiancé. I've been there helping her cope with the loss ever since I woke up from my coma. Naruto said as he would always be there for Caitlyn. Why can't guys be more like you? Bet asked as most the men she knew met and worked with were all assholes. Alright, all set, it's kaboom time. Cisco said, holding a boomerang. No, Naruto and Bet said, not wanting to be blown up to Kingdom Come. Dude, boomerangs come back, you know that right? Naruto said as Bet made his suit go off like a C4 charge. A boomerang was like a hand grenade. Fair point, alternative. Tennis ball. Cisco said, putting the boomerang down and picking up a tennis ball. Bet grabbed the tennis ball and threw it and saw it go off like a low-grade grenade. I think the mass has a role in the equation, Naruto said, handing her to ball, one normal size, the other larger, and when she threw it a good distance away they saw two holes in the ground. How's it look? Bet asked while giving passing glances to Caitlyn and Naruto's assess. Naruto saw it. Sorry, haven't had any action in a long time. Guess I'm a little pent up. Bet said, apologizing. Not a problem, I've been doing the same, Naruto said, smirking at her. Join the club. Caitlyn said before walking over to her. Feel free to stare as much as you want. She whispered into Betty's ear, who looked at Naruto. Yeah, why do you think I fell for her? Naruto said as they both watched Caitlyn walk away. 426 kpas. Her trousel rating is around 45. That's the same as any plastique. Plastique, ha, first try. Cisco said, making them roll their eyes and smile. Few hours later. What happened? Barry asked, walking in feeling the tension. Caitlyn was gonna give me the not-so-good news, Bet said as the silence was a good indicator. The shrapnel has fused to your body on the molecular level, HAREM said to her, showing the X-ray diagram. Which basically means it's next to impossible to remove, Naruto said as he then had a smirk, but I have a backup plan, he said as he pulled out his phone and dialed. Hey Dad, got a challenge for ya. Think you can handle it, he said, sending him some info. Also here, look at this, he said, revealing a picture of his mask. What about your mask, dude? Cisco asked curiously. When me and Barry saw Iris we vibrated our faces. My mash has more sensors than Barry's, so check this. I wasn't just vibrating, Naruto said as he showed a diagram of his head. You became air. Caitlyn said as she recognized the frequency. Upgrade time. Cisco said to Naruto, smiling excitedly. For that and my goggles. Naruto said, holding up some old goggles. You still have those? Cisco said as those were real old. Caitlyn got them for me, remember? If I'm upgrading something, these should get some love too. Naruto said, making Caitlyn smile as he kept the present she gave him on one of their dates. So what are you saying? Bet asked. We're going to help get that shrapnel out of you and make some upgrades at the same time. Naruto said with a smirk. Get the music set up, it's montage time baby. Sasuke said, playing some old school rock. God, you watch too much TV. Caitlyn said as Naruto sped over to Whirlpool Inc. to work on the project for Bet. Okay, if my calculations are right, I might be able to channel the vibrations into my hand and remove certain pieces, Naruto thought as he did a full display of Betty's body and where the shrapnel was located. Okay, this is very peculiar, Minato said, walking in with the information Naruto sent. This is next generation stuff, that's up your alley. Whirlpool Inc. makes things that nobody can imagine making, so I thought maybe you could give me a hand. Naruto said as he needed to see things at a certain angle or a new perspective. You a hand, or Godspeed? Minato asked curiously. We're helping him, he's working with STR Labs, remember? Naruto said as his parents were smart and learned about metahumans quickly. Oh right, sorry, I didn't have my coffee this morning. Minato said, knowing it was a lie. Next day. You ready? Naruto said as Bet was in the medical lab laying on a bed in a hospital gown. I'm scared. Bet said in all honesty. A sentiment I share with Ms. Susie, said Harrison, as if this failed she'd go off and probably die. How can you even be sure you can vibrate like that, dude? One wrong move, squelch. Sasuke said. Not helping, dude, Naruto said as he felt nervous as another person's life was in his hands. You're a lot stronger than you look. Caitlyn, surgeons don't get enough credit, he said as he qualified as a DR but never pursued the medical field. Bet gulped as she put her hand. Can you hold my hand as you're doing it? She asked, terrified. Nothing in her career as a soldier could prepare her for this. Yeah, ready? On the count of 3, Naruto said, giving her gloved right hand his left hand. Bet nodded and closed her eyes. 1, she said. Barry breathed nervously as he watched this, as this was terrifying to behold. 2, Naruto said. Caitlyn and Sasuke had their fingers crossed. 3, they both said as Naruto's hand went inside her as she held in her screen, brushing past the parts where the shrapnel was, and soon pulled out some scraps of metal in his hand. Holy, SHT, I got it. Naruto said as Bet opened her eyes. Holy SHT, I honestly thought we were gonna die, Sasuke said in relief. F you man, Naruto said as his friend's mic was on. Haru's-san breathed in relief as he patted a cloth on his head as he was sweating. Remarkable work, Naruto. You continue to amaze even me, he said as he didn't know if Naruto could completely do it and not kill her. But did it work? Bet asked in disbelief before she touched him with her bare hand. Oh my god, thank you, she said in joy before putting her arms around his neck and kissing him. Woohoo! Sasuke said over the CMS. I am so sorry, I was just dash, Bet said as she was so excited. Hey, it's okay. Naruto said as he understood the thrill of the moment. Trust me, you're not the first one who's done that. Caitlyn said as she had done it plenty. And not the only who's wanted to do it for the past week. She muttered to herself. Few hours later. Good news and okay news, Naruto said as he just finished his tests. What? Bet asked curiously. So you're completely healthy and not a walking hazard, but you still have your powers. They may or may not be as powerful, but you appear to have full control, Naruto said in full honesty. Better than nothing. Bet said as at least she had control now. Doesn't mean Eiling is going to stop. Haru's-san said. Oh, he will, if he wants to live to see tomorrow. Naruto said as he brought out a folder that has footage of Groot's experiments. He said, restraining the urge to vomit as he wanted to murder Eiling after he learned what he did. He performed illegal surgeries on Bet and I have the records with his signature, he said as he went back to the doctor's office and stole it from his computer and the hard files along with the footage of when it happened. Meaning, Barry said, trailing off. He hurts one hair on her head and I'll make this public. He will never be able to get any kind of job in the military ever again, or at the very least demote him. Naruto said, as he knew certain people in the government might actually try to recruit Ealing if this was revealed, as he knew about ARGUS might want to know and have him manage what he knew about metas or even the DEO. I don't know what to say, Bet said, as she was truly moved by this. You don't have to say anything, but your military career, I'll have to do something to your status, maybe discharge you because of the injuries from Afghanistan, Naruto said, as the military still had her x-rays and he could say she was discharged easily. That seems like the best play, Bet said, as she knew if her BLD was taken for medical checks the whole government would know, and the only good thing about Ealing was he was discreet and hid his actions. Alright, Naruto said, as he went to change her status to honorable discharge. Next day late at night. Finally, Naruto said, as he was testing a new concoction Caitlyn made up for him and Barry, and he drowned it. Yes dash, he said, as 2 seconds later it was gone. 2 seconds, Kate, better than most, he said, letting out a sigh. How about you, Speedy, he asked Barry. Haha, that's what Oliver calls his little sis, Barry said, dropping on the floor. Why is he on his butt? But I'm stone cold sober, Naruto asked Caitlyn. I acquired some of your BLD from an old BLD sample you donated at the STR Labs BLD drive a while back, Caitlyn said, as all the BLD of the employees was kept on file and she saw Naruto's had a high metabolism, his speed just increased it. Ah, can we just get me some poison? Naruto asked, as that was what alcohol was. Nope, Caitlyn said, as she had taken an oath as before she became a doctor. Besides, we have to make a toast to our new teammate, she said, as Bet was sitting there quietly this whole time. I honestly don't know what to say, Bet said, as she felt out of place after running for almost a year. Then say nothing as we all get SHT face, Cisco said, getting a jealous glare from Naruto. The smartest thing that's ever come out his mouth, Caitlyn said with a laugh. Careful, Katie, Naruto said, as Caitlyn drank like some teen being pressured. Ow, Barry said, clutching his head on the floor. You are a terrible and weak drunk, my friend, Naruto said with a smirk, as Barry looked like he was suffering from a hangover, and soon a tray of different drinks was brought to them. Ugh, we didn't order these, Cisco said, as most of these looked real expensive. Compliments of all the ladies over there to you, sir, the waiter said, as he pointed to a group of women, all of them in skimpy clothing. Dude, that's insane, Cisco said, seeing all the drinks had numbers under them along with very graphic SXL messages. Is he always this strong a chick magnet? Bet asked Caitlyn. This is nothing, Caitlyn said, as Naruto was everything a female dreamed of and more. Dude, write a book on how to pick up women, Cisco said in a faraway look. Why would I write a book to teach douchebags? Naruto asked Cisco. No, I meant for me, Cisco said, as the women were crazy gorgeous. I can teach you, young Padawan, Naruto said with a smirk, as Cisco then bowed. Wear less childish shirts, cut your hair, and be cool, he said. No to all that, Cisco said, as he loved his style, his hair, and how he was. Then you passed the first test, young grasshopper, Naruto said with a laugh. People like people who are acting like themselves. Never compromise yourself just to satisfy the needs of others because you're not being you, he said seriously. He's got a point, Bet asked, as some of the people she dated thought they had to be someone else or act a certain way, and it just wasn't what she wanted. Maybe his book idea had some merit, Caitlyn said with a smirk. So what happens now? Barry asked Bet. Guess I'll go into hiding. You know how determined Eiling can be to get his target. Bet said, as Naruto nodded. You let me worry about that, I have some friends that can help you. Naruto said with a smirk. Thank you, but if you ever need plastique, she'll be there. Bet said with a smirk, looking in Cisco's direction, who smiled. Now come on, let's drink, said Naruto as they downed their drinks. Ugh. Sure we can't get you to stay? Caitlyn asked her. I think I just might. Bet said, eyeing Naruto. She turns to Caitlyn, who does the same, and the two smile before tapping their drinks together. With Kushina. Minato, come look at this, Kushina said, holding up a video feed of Naruto and the others walking in on the day he woke up. What's up? Minato asked curiously. Look, Kushina said as she changed the spectrum of the video, showing Naruto and Barry glowing white and gold. So his friend is the Flash? Minato asked, not really surprised. Yeah, but that's not all I found. Look at this new experimental lens that was added to that camera. Look what it does to Naruto, Kushina said as Naruto's body was lit up in blue light. What is that? Minato asked as at a certain angle it looked like a nervous system. I don't know, Kushina said as she was baffled by this image. She then puts on a thinking face before running out of the lab and returning with a book. You really think it's that? Minato asked her. It's just like mine but the color is different. Kushina said as she took out a photo of her body having something similar to Naruto's photo only in gold color, and the picture was taken more than 2 decades ago. Really? Minato asked curiously. Minato, it runs in my family. I was honestly wishing it would skip his generation but apparently not. It's chakra all right. Kushina said, wondering how Naruto's was stronger and brighter than her own chakra. Suddenly a beeping got their attention. The satellites? Minato said as they went over to nearby computers. Naruto set them up to look for Sapphire's cell phone signal. They must have finally found it, just outside of Starling, Kushina said as she let out a sigh. It is? If we tell Naruto and he goes, and it's wrong, Naruto will be devastated. Minato said as his son felt much pain when he felt like he failed his friends or couldn't help them. Okay, we look into it first. Kushina said, taking. In a warehouse in Starling City. We see Sapphire Stag staring up at the creature that took her as it glares at a picture of Naruto. He stopped me once from getting you. Not this time, once he's gone. The creature morphed its arm into a blade and slashed the picture in half. You'll be all mine, the creature said in an obsessive tone. I'll never be yours, Rex, Sapphire said, knowing who he was. Rex Mason was weak. From now on call me Metamorpho, the substance that has given me new life, new power, that is what my name shall be. Rex said, laughing loudly. The chemical my father had made, Sapphire said, as it shouldn't have done this and more likely have killed him. How did you become this? Sapphire asked curiously. A story for another time. Now. It's time for a meeting with one Naruto Namikaze. The last one we will ever have. Rex said before burning the remains of the picture. Jitters. Dude, this is really creepy. Naruto said as he was sitting on the roof as Barry was talking to Iris, vibrating his vocal cords. Why not just tell her the truth? She's bound to find out sometime. We can't keep the metahuman thing down forever, he said, moving so fast Iris looked frozen. Because I can't, and plus you don't get it. What I get is you can't control certain urges and run your mouth to someone you know who's posting a blog about us. Naruto said firmly, besides painting a target on her back, the more she knows the more harm it can do to us, he said to his red-clad friend. How? Barry asked. These little rendezvous things you're doing. You meeting her as this, is just encouraging her. Naruto said as he was literally fueling the fire. Information is power, Barry, no matter how small or big, he said as they slowed down so time was normal. Oh wow, Godspeed, Iris said as H. Look Iris, what I'm about to say is absolutely serious. 10 months ago when the Naruto said before Barry covered his mouth. I get it alright, Barry said as they then heard sirens and took off. To be continued, he said as they ran. Seriously dude, you have a problem. Naruto said as he saw Barry save a kid and brought him to a fence, and need to know how not to waste time, dude. He was 5 feet from the sidewalk, he said as Barry often wasted time and lacked precision. Berate me later, God. Barry said as he always felt like he was being berated when Naruto taught him. How the hell is he so good, he thought, always wondering how Naruto seemed to remind him of Oliver. The two then went after the yellow Humvee, stopping in front of it, causing it to turn. That is a really muscled dude. Naruto thought, admitting the man was larger than him. Step out of the vehicle. Barry said, trying to sound like a cop. If you say so, the large man said as he got out and ripped the driver's side door off, holding it like a shield. Oh. Naruto said as he had seen this move before the guy threw it at them. The two dodged it as it got stuck to the fence. Barry decides to go in for a punch to the guy's cheek, but the cheek turns to metal, causing him to break his hand on contact. SHT, it reminds me of Gaara's-san must be instinctual, Naruto thought, as the man might not have seen the punch but could certain predict or feel it coming. The man then backhands Barry over the car with a metal arm. The guy smirks as he stands over Barry. Looks like you were born to take a beating. The guy said before Naruto grabbed Barry and the two got out of there. 20 minutes later. What happened? Caitlin asked as Naruto was treating Barry. He hit a literal man of steel and no, not Superman Cisco. Naruto said as he locked Barry's hand in a device to prevent movement. By these charts he'll be healed in a few hours, Caitlin said as she quickly diagnosed what Naruto had done from the x-rays and such, 13 fractures, and that's just in his arm. He's also got a concussion, 3 cracked ribs and a bruised spleen, she said, filling Harusan and Cisco in on what he was healing. Why'd you go after a metahuman alone? I mean, why didn't you call us? Cisco said, feeling slight betray. We weren't on the hunt for metas, I was trying to keep a secret identity and he was trying to do the secret of the man behind the mask thing. Naruto said, giving Barry a look, and for the record, I didn't want to give her your secret. I just wanted to tell her the truth about the metahumans, he said, as that was gonna be revealed sooner or later. Why? I thought we promised, Barry was saying. You promised I didn't. If knowing keeps Iris safe then I'll do it, I'd rather tell the city so they could be prepared. This ain't gonna be silent forever, Barry, you know that. Naruto said as he wondered how or why certain metas were in hiding or waited so long to come out. Strangest thing about that guy, I felt like I knew him. But he's going to hurt someone unless we stop him. How are we supposed to fight a guy who can turn into steel? Barry asked, not knowing what to do for this. I can shock him. Some metals increase the charge of lightning so it'll hurt more, Naruto said as he learned to send small powerful sparks through his punches. We wanna stop him, not fry him. Caitlin said as Naruto's lightning was very powerful. Whatever the way, we will find it, for tonight you heal. Harrison said as he left the room. So Ms. Snow care to Naruto said before Caitlin covered his mouth with her hand. Go home. Caitlin said with a smirk. Fine. Naruto said before giving her a kiss on the cheek and leaving. Am I forever destined to be single? Barry asked Caitlin. Oh hush, besides that was Naruto being Naruto. Caitlin said as Naruto did a great job on Barry so she didn't need to stay. And where are you going? His apartment? Barry asked with a smirk. Don't make me hurt you, Barry, I know how to break the rest of the remaining 208 bones that aren't broken. Caitlin said with a smirk. Barry gulped in fear as she left, as did Cisco. Next morning. Barry walked in with Naruto as Joe was at his desk. What happened to you last night? Joe asked as no criminal was reported captured. Got beat up by a steel-plated sociopath. Barry said. He is a metahuman. Joe said as he had a strong feeling. That particle accelerator's the gift that keeps on giving. Joe said as he thought only a few people were affected, but seeing new people pop up more frequently made him. Any idea on who he is? Naruto asked curiously. Eddie's taking point while I run down a lead. I need you or you to work with him until I get back. Joe said as he didn't want Barry to worry about his suspicions. Because Eddie saw something impossible and you want us to lie to him by saying it was something explainable? Barry said as that was usually what his job was. Exactly. Joe said as he left. Naruto and Barry walked into Singh's office. So nice of you to join us, Mr. Allen and Naruto. Rough night, Allen? Singh asked, seeing the bandaged hand. We are CSI, not detectives. Unless there is a crime scene where we can actually lend a hand to catch your perp, we really don't have to be here. Naruto said, causing Singh to retort but couldn't find anything to say as Naruto was right. Thanks. Barry said to Naruto. Know how to pick your battles and use your words, my friend, it'll save your life, Naruto said to Barry. As I was saying, our perp yanked 3 ATMs after he boosted the security cameras caught him on video. We got a hit in the database, Tony Woodward. Singh said as Barry recognized the name quickly. Who is he? Naruto asked, seeing the look of realization on Barry. Got a pretty lengthy history of assault among other things, going back to juvie. Dropped off the radar 10 months ago. Singh said as Barry froze, having flashbacks of Tony bullying him back in school. Later STR Labs. Hey, you guys got your books with these guys? Naruto asked his friends. Here, Cisco said, handing him a picture with small holes in it. I sometimes throw darts at it, he admitted. Jake Puckett. Naruto said as he quickly went to the phone book and got some phone numbers and used his job with CCPD to get his address and went old school and had the man hanging on a tree by his underwear, then went to Caitlin's apartment and found her yearbook and found Lexi LaRoche and quickly ate gum as he went to her address and put multiple pieces in her hair, all the while taking video and picture. I have now gotten your revenge on your childhood bullies, you are welcome. Naruto said. Caitlin surprised him by kissing him. Oh dude, I love you, Cisco said, watching live footage of Jake Puckett screaming from a tree. I'm framing this, Caitlin said as the picture of Lexi with gum in her hair was a nice one. Great, can we get back to my bully? Barry asked, a little impressed as that was real nice. Yeah, now that I know you three are uber nerds, although one is a hot uber nerd. Naruto said, giving Caitlin's behind a gentle smack. Hey, I don't know about Barry, but I am very CC, Cisco said proudly. To who, your mother? Naruto asked. I'll let that slide. Cisco said, enjoying Jake's screams. Do that again and you'll be the one getting smacked. Caitlin said to Naruto. Do your weird comeback relationship thing later, we're dealing with Tony, Barry said as he wanted some payback. Sorry, her peach is very smackable, I can't help it. Naruto said as Caitlin blushed and smacked the back of his head. At least actually get back together before you do stuff like that. Cisco said as that was just polite. Well, she likes to hit me, this is just retaliation, Naruto said with a smirk as Caitlin sent him a challenging look. Okay, Barry, time train you Karate Kid style. Cisco said as he brought them to the treadmill room where an armored contraption was. Old school Karate Kid or newer? Naruto asked him. Classic duh, Cisco said as if it were obvious. Can Naruto fight him? Barry asked, seeing Caitlin bring in bandages and ice packs. This girder or the girder metahuman? Cisco asked. I'm more afraid I might punch a hole through this thing, Naruto said with a smirk. Besides Barry, you need physical training cause let's be honest, you are not strong, he said as he had seen Barry fight, and without his speed he was an easy target along with the fact he had no actual muscles on his arms. Yeah, no SHT, I am a science nerd, not a jock. Like you. Barry said as he knew in a straight-up fight without his speed he'd go down. Theoretically, couldn't one with your powers get a form of super strength? I saw it in a comic once. Cisco asked curiously. Energy transference, we're focusing the energy in one part of our body unlike it being spread evenly, Naruto said as that was how chakra worked. Yeah, but the one I read had the guy doing something with his muscle, speeding them up to do something. Gah, how'd he do it? Cisco said, trying to remember. Energizing our cells, Naruto asked him as chakra could do that as well as it increased the body's size and strength but sometimes came at a cost. Can I do that? Barry asked, wondering what he'd look like with muscles. No, Naruto said as he didn't know what the speed force would do being focused in one point. Okay Padawan, let's train, Cisco said, getting his controller ready. This'll end badly, Naruto said, knowing he could take on the metal contraption, but Barry he was unsure about, and 10 seconds later Barry had a dislocated shoulder. Hold still, Naruto said as he popped the arm back into place quickly. Cisco, let me go around, he asked his friend. You sure? Cisco asked curiously as he didn't want to break Naruto's bones. Hit me with your best shot, Naruto said as he dodged the robot's punch and pierced the armor, cracking it, then dodged another punch, ripping off an arm. How the hell does he do that? Barry asked as Naruto ripped the machine apart. Because Naruto trains periodically not just with his speed but his actual body, bringing himself to the speed of me and Kate. Dude, his reflexes and skills are on point. He can kick someone's but that's twice his size, Cisco said. Naruto smirked as he ran around the machine and in an instant it was fixed and repaired. The speed doesn't just go to your legs, it goes to every part of your body. Brain, muscles, organs, etc. Naruto said as they operated faster than anything on the planet, but brought themselves to normal speed so people could keep up with them. Your turn. Cisco said with a smirk. Barry gulps nervously as his arms still hurt. Don't worry dude, it's not gonna kill you, at least I hope not. Cisco said as he didn't anticipate on it breaking Barry's arm. No, he's done for now. Besides, we got to help Eddie as they found Tony's Humvee. Naruto said, saving Barry's skin, or more accurately his bones. Well, let go. Barry said, slightly happy not to get his butt kicked again. You go, it's time for Kurama's lunch. Naruto said, running home. Cisco and Caitlin looked at each other. So, that kiss. Cisco said, referring to the kiss Caitlin gave Naruto. It was, just a playful kiss. Caitlin said as she looked away from Cisco. No, I know kisses. Caitlin. Cisco said, saying her name teasingly. Cisco, I was just caught in the moment. Caitlin said as she got flustered. No, you and I both know your feelings are coming back for him. What about Ronnie? Cisco asked, wondering how she was coping with that. Cisco. I can't dash. Caitlin, I'm saying this as your best friend, who wants what's best for you. You have feelings for him and Ronnie, but you have to pick. You can't keep going on with these teases. You can't live it both ways, take your pick, before it's too late. Cisco said as he knew Caitlin was trying to move on with Naruto but knew a small part of her clutched to her memory and love of Ronnie. With Naruto. That's it, eat up little guy, Naruto said as Kurama ate his food from his bowl. Oh, I have something for you to eat, a voice in his apartment said, making Naruto look around. Naruto looked around before a gas came out of the vents and took shape. Hello again and goodbye. Metamorpho said as his hands ignited and he blasted Naruto through his window and down, crashing onto a car. Metamorpho cackled as he jumped down after him, but Naruto rolled out of the way. Before long, news crews were filming this from choppers. I swear if this is because of Barry I will castrate him, Naruto said as he was very pissed. Not so high and mighty now, huh? Metamorpho said as he backhanded Naruto into a truck, denting it. With Kushina. We see the woman in her office before Minato comes rushing in. Channel 7. He said. Kushina did so quickly, and when she saw what was on the news her heart stopped as Naruto was on live TV. He won't expose himself like this, he won't use his powers, she said, knowing how her son thought. Naruto in danger. A robotic voice said as a wall opened up and two red eyes glowed through it. Back with Naruto. Naruto was bruised and bleeding as Metamorpho slammed him against a wall. She's mine now, all mine. You're never going to take her from me. Metamorpho said crazily. I don't even know you, PP head, Naruto said as Metamorpho lifted him up. Metamorpho began squeezing Naruto's body before four black objects shaped like bats landed on his arm, huh? He said before they explode. Before Metamorpho could recover, 3 arrows were shot into his back, electrocuting him. Thank you, Oliver, Nissa said as she stole a few of Oliver's arrows, as metahumans were capable of surviving regular arrows. Then a sonic boom goes off as Metamorpho looks up before getting tackled by a flying blur. Everyone gasped as Superman came out of the crater throwing Metamorpho. Mess with my friends, you mess with me, the Man of Steel said as his eyes glowed. All of us. Batwoman said as she held more exploding batarangs. Your chances aren't looking so good, said Batman as he landed and gave the famous bat glare. Nissa didn't say anything as she landed on the back of a truck and aimed an arrow at him. Naruto groaned as something thudded beside him. When he looked at what it was, his eyes widened as it looked like a big mechanical robotic fox. You are in danger, you are about to lose consciousness. In 12 seconds I will take you to the nearest medical center, the robot fox said. Take me to STR Labs, Naruto said before he blacked as it picked him up and did as instructed. Metamorpho roared with rage as he turned into a gas and flew away. So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for part 3. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and author pyrohelixdrago on FANFICTIONnet. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.